Did you know that the $850 billion bank bailout of 2008 was greater than the entire 50-year running budget of NASA at the time? The US government should continue funding NASA. Today I'll persuade you why doing so is essential for the environmental, economic, and technological future of America and the world. I'm currently a senior physics student at the University of Texas at Dallas, and I've enjoyed reading about NASA since I was a little kid. So first, I'll explain to you the enormous influence that NASA has on climate change research. Second, I'll tell you about the widespread economic impact that NASA has in the United States. And lastly, I'll describe how technology developed for space exploration has been applied and used by society at large. So now that I've given you a preview of my speech today, I'd like to start off by explaining the vital research that NASA conducts in climate change research on Earth. NASA conducts important research not only in space, as many people think, in space exploration, but in climate change on Earth as well. NASA's role in Earth science actually began when it was created by the Space Act of 1958, which made the study of Earth's atmosphere one of NASA's top priorities. Congress amended the Space Act when Ronald Reagan was president to designate Earth as the first of NASA's 9 fundamental missions. And there are at least 15 Earth science satellites that NASA helped create and maintain, monitoring everything from global rainfall to soil moisture. Measurements of soil moisture help farmers plan their crops, while measurements of ice patterns provide navigation for the shipping industry. According to astrophysicist Adam Frank in his article titled Earth, the Final Frontier, neither the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA as it's called, nor the United States Geological Survey could take over NASA's Earth science projects. NOAA has a budget of only $6 billion, of which only a fraction is spent on Earth science. And Frank states that asking NOAA to absorb part or all of NASA's Earth science effort would be like watching a snake trying to swallow an elephant. So now that I've explained NASA's important research on climate change, I'd like to tell you about NASA's economic impact as well. NASA has had a positive economic impact on all 50 US states. According to MRI Global's November 1971 study of NASA, the $25 billion spent during 1959 to 1969 returned $181 billion by 1987. This means that on average, each dollar spent on research and development returns slightly more than $7 in technologically motivated economic gain. So, as well as that, NASA's 6th-year mission to study Earth's climate is such a scale that proposals to move NASA's Earth science program elsewhere will lead to taxpayer waste. The 15 Earth science satellites mentioned before promote billions of dollars of economic activity and affect millions of people. According to Adam Frank, just as it would be silly or folly to ask the Army to build and operate submarines, asking someone else to do NASA's job would be an invitation to organizational chaos. So now that I've told you about NASA's economic impact, I'd like to describe NASA's technological influence on society at large. Technology developed by NASA for space exploration has been applied to society at large very many times. According to C.J. Miosi, in his article titled NASA Should Continue to Receive Funding, NASA has filed thousands of patents with the US government. The list of everyday technology developed by NASA includes ear thermometers, long-lasting tires, memory foam mattresses, transparent dental braces, athletic shoes, scratch-resistant glasses, and the list goes on and on. Furthermore, these applications don't include just helpful tools to make our normal everyday lives easier, but they also include revolutionary medical technologies to make possible such things as breast cancer detection. Miosi goes on to state that some of the greatest discoveries and inventions in human history were not a result of direct development, but rather were incidents in the development of other technologies and ideas. Funding a space program isn't just funding the construction of spaceships, but it's funding invention itself. And the list of such inventions includes high-capacity batteries, advances in the aerodynamics of vehicles, ultraviolet filters for glasses, cloud technology, satellite television, and Google Earth imagery. So now that I've described NASA's technological influence on society at large, I'd like to revisit my main points and conclude my speech. So I described to you NASA's enormous role in investigating climate change on our own planet, and then I discussed NASA's widespread economic impact in the US, and I finished by detailing the many inventions that have sprung forth from NASA initiatives. So whether or not NASA continues to discover and create our future world depends on the fiscal decisions made by our politicians. So therefore, I ask you as voters to consider NASA's priceless impact on our world when electing your representatives. So, in the words of astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, I ask you, how much would you pay for our universe? Thank you.